Hello, hello, hello. If you have clicked on this video, you're probably a chronic overthinker just like I am. But there are ways to stop this, and in this video, I'll talk to you about how I do it. So I have some notes on my laptop, on my lap, so I'll be looking down once in a while. And I'll also be quoting from this book. It's The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. Tolle? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it basically talks about the power of now. So the power of indulging in the present moment and letting your mind rest, stopping your mind from thinking, and about leaving your analytical mind behind, the ego behind, to silence your thoughts and create a liberated life, and to surrender to the present moment where problems do not exist. I read this book like a year ago. There are some very good approaches to stop overthinking, so I really recommend buying that book. I only read it like halfway through, not even halfway through, but in the first third of this book, we have so much information and so many good ways that I have implemented into my life to stop overthinking and to be more present. And that's what this video will be about. Overthinking obviously comes from being in your mind too much. You're being too much in the past, too much in the future, but you're not in the now. And that's exactly the root of the problem. So that's why the first tip I can give you to stop overthinking is to practice mindfulness. Because through practicing mindfulness, you are more indulged in the now, less in your head, in your mind. And so you automatically stop overthinking. One example he mentions in the book is washing your hands. It might sound like, no, this is not gonna work. Practicing mindfulness basically helps you to be mindful in everything you do. So if you wash your hands and you just kind of do it like on autopilot, not really being in the now, but just being on autopilot and washing your hands, you're gonna be a lot more in your mind because that autopilot allows you to be in your mind. So if you practice mindfulness and if you really feel the temperature of the water running over your hands, if you smell the soap, move your hands very mindfully while washing your hands, it automatically allows you to be in this moment and not to think. As Eckhart Tolle puts it, you can also create a gap in the mind stream simply by directing the focus of your attention into the now. Just become intensely conscious of the present moment. This is a deeply satisfying thing to do. In this way, you draw consciousness away from mind activity and create a gap of no mind, in which you are highly alert and aware but not thinking. This is the essence of meditation. So that's also meditation. Just being deeply aware of this moment, feeling everything. Yeah, so being mindful really helps you to get into the present moment and out of your mind. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Whereas before you dwelled in time and paid brief visits to the now, have your dwelling place in the now and pay brief visits to past and future when required to deal with the practical aspect of your life. Always say yes to the present moment. Just how I said, like, be here and not in the past and in the future. It sounds maybe easier than it is, but it's a practice. Mindfulness is a practice. It comes with practice. And you will notice the more you do it, the happier you get because you're not worried about anything. You're just in this moment. All that matters is now and not the future, not the past. When practicing mindfulness, it's also helpful to really connect to your breath very deeply, watch it, and breathe deeply. This can also really help with panic attacks if you're having a panic attack and you're really like just breathing very nervously. And when you watch this breath and when you slow it down consciously, you can overcome a panic attack. I'm not a psychologist though, so just try it out and see what works for you. The second tip I have learned, not from this book, but from my own experiences, is detachment from the mind. I even thought about getting a tattoo on my arm so that I would always remember this very important piece of advice: detachment from the mind. Because sometimes your thoughts can get so annoying, like bad and very dark for some people. In these moments, it just helps to know, this is not me. Yes, you are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are having these thoughts. And every time a bad thought arises, realize that it is not you. You are having this bad thought. It's a harmless thought. It will not do anything bad to you. So detachment from the mind also can really help stop overthinking, or like help you deal with overthinking, because you detach from that reality you create in your mind. You detach from it in a way that makes you feel like this is not your fault. Oh my god, it's getting deep here, but yeah. The third advice I have for you is to take action. Let's say there's something that really bothers you, that is really on your mind 24/7, and you're really worried about this thing. Maybe it's about that one thing you said to this one person once, and you really regret that because it was kind of insensitive or rude, and you feel bad. So then you have to ask yourself, is this struggle really real, or is it a worst case scenario of your mind? Is your mind exaggerating a problem that is not even there? And if it's the worst case scenario that you are exaggerating in your mind, just think of the best case scenario. For example, let's just take the example, you did not learn for that one math exam that is coming up next week, and that is coming up tomorrow, because you just had no time to learn. Oh my god, if I fail this math test, everything's gonna be bad. My parents are gonna be disappointed. I'm gonna be disappointed in myself, and I'm never gonna be able to get my grade up again. That's just the worst case scenario. You're over exaggerating if you learned a bit and you know the basics. It will not be that bad. So what's the best thing that could happen? Don't always ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? So what's the best thing that could happen? I go into that math exam, I write down everything I know, and I come home being completely unbothered, for example, and my parents accepting my grade. Maybe that might sound unrealistic to some because their parents are not obsessed about their children's grades, but that was just an example for me. So imagine the best case scenario, not always the worst case scenario. But let's say the thing that is bothering you is real, and it's a real struggle, and it's always on your mind. Why am I holding this book? Look what you can do now to solve the problem. Again, now. What can you do in this moment to solve the problem? If there's anything you can do, do it. Problem is solved. But if there is nothing you can do, you let go of that control. It's not in your control to solve this problem right now. Let go of that control. You can't change it right now. Why bother even thinking about it? When you can't do something now to solve this problem, then you can't do something now to solve this problem. Then, of course, which is always a recommendation, meditate. Meditation helps you wash your thoughts. Not indulge in them too much, not be in your thoughts too much, not creating even more thoughts, but just watching them. And also, meditation helps you recognize thought patterns that you were not aware of before. If something comes up like, I am scared of the future, every time in your meditation, that might be something you have to work on. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Listening. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watching the thinker, which is another way of saying listen to the voice in your head, be there as the witnessing presence. Yeah. And I find that helps me too. I really recommend meditating. When you get into that state, it's like almost peaceful. And don't try to not think because that will force even more thoughts into your mind. Just try to watch them. It's also a practice, so it gets easier every time you do it. It's like a muscle you have to train. It's not something that, I mean, for some people it might work on the first try, but it's not something that usually works when you first do it. It's something that is a habit that has to be built. Then my 5th tip is be gentle with yourself. If you're going through a lot and you're having mental health issues, a running mind doesn't need another harsh voice telling it to stop thinking. Don't be too hard on yourself just because your mind is being your mind. And then the last tip, exercise. You really have to get into your body. Again, because overthinking comes from being too much in your mind, and it helps you focus on something else outside of you. For example, you can take a walk, you can work out, you can do some Pilates. You can also do yoga if a workout is too hard for you right now. And yeah, it just helps you get into your body and away from these nagging thoughts. And these were my best approaches to stop overthinking. If you want to buy the book, buy the book. Yeah, I have only read like 1/3 of it, but it is really good. As you can see, I have a lot of sticky tabs right here, so I really recommend checking that out. It also has some crazy approaches which I didn't find so helpful. That's why I stopped reading, because I thought, what is this crazy dude saying? But I guess it just really depends on your own perspective. Some might even find this helpful, but sometimes he's like, just, I don't know, saying to completely stop thinking. Like, surrender to the present moment where problems do not exist. Problems can still exist in the present moment. They're not just in your mind. Maybe I'm not enlightened enough to understand this. Some of what he has written in his book really makes no sense to me. I'm gonna end this video here, and I hope these advices helped you and will create a more liberated and beautiful life for you, and that you can stop overthinking. It's really just a practice. If you really want it, you can do it. Bye bye.